Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha, Srimad Varavara Munaye Namaha, Srimad Lokarya Mahagurave Namaha. Ongi ulagaLandha Uththaman Perpadi, the third Pasuram of Thiruppāvai. In this Pasuram, Āṇḍāḻ glorifies the Lord Trivikrama, the one who grew to measure all the worlds upon receiving alms from Mahabali. When Indra was tormented by Mahabali and lost all his worlds, Srimad Narayana took the form of a Vamana. The name itself means he is a dwarf. Emperuman compresses himself as a dwarf to relieve Indra of his misfortune, and as soon as he got the alms from Mahabali, he was so happy that his devotee's misery was going to be gone, and as a result, he just grew so big. He grew to measure the three worlds. In this connection, an Ithihyam of Parasara Bhattar is mentioned. Generally, a person's distress and delight are a result of their karmas and hence are not desired. They are considered faulty or as doshas. However, Emperuman's transformation as a dwarf or as a Trivikrama is for his devotees. They are not for himself. He is selfless and does these for others, and they are a result of his compassion. Emperuman's distress and delight are a result of this immense compassion. In this context, Parasara Bhattar said that while Emperuman is in Sri Vaikuntham and is in the company of the Nityas and the Muktas, he will still be thinking about the Jivatmas in the Bhulokam. He'll be sad that even though these Jivatmas that are in the Bhulokam, they are also equally qualified to have the same company of Srimad Narayana. They forget that and are drowning in their material pursuits and their sense gratifications. To this, someone asked Bhattar, Emperuman is an avapta samasta kaman. There is one who has all his wishes and desires fulfilled. When that is the case, he should have only good qualities. So, would it even be appropriate to say that he is upset about not having the Jivatmas? Isn't being upset about something a bad quality? To that, Bhattar answered sharply with a slokam from Sri Ramayana that goes, Vyasaneshu manushyanam vrisham bhavati dukkhitaha, which means when Rama sees people in distress, he feels even more distress for them and would cry even more than the person who is in pain. So Bhattar asks, is it a good quality or a bad quality to feel for those in distress? In other words, Emperuman thinking of us, of those that are in this Bhuloka and not with him in Paramapadam, shows the good compassionate quality of Srimad Narayana and explained that with this example from Sri Ramayana. In the same topic of compassion, another Ithihyam is mentioned for the same Pasuram. In a place called Maraneri, some Brahmanas were walking in a small trail that had space only for one person to go. It was a one-person trail. From the other side, these Brahmanas saw another person from a lower caste come by with a big load on his head. These Brahmanas asked that other person to give way for them to pass. At that point, a person called Ramanujadasar confronted these Brahmanas and said, hey, can you not wait for that person with a heavy load on his head to cross? These Brahmanas pointed to some age-old Shastra that said one should give way to Brahmanas even if he is carrying a weight on their head. Ramanujadasar immediately replied, does compassion ever come based on rules? Is compassion defined by rules? That is, he said that one should have compassion based on the plight of the people and not based on established rule books. Such was the exalted nature of our ancestors, where they knew the right thing to do and acted compassionately. The next Ithihyam for this Pasuram is for the phrase Uththaman, where Āṇḍāḻ talks about the Lord Trivikrama who took alms from Mahabali. Here, Parasara Bhattar explains that one who is Uththaman is one who wants to help others at the cost of his own goodness, at the cost of putting himself into torture or into pressure. Emperuman helped Indra here. But this is to show that he will go to any extent to protect anybody and everybody, those who surrender to him, not just Indra. Even if it is at the cost of him doing these so-called unrighteous acts to save his devotees. Once we surrender to him, we do not have to worry about even the Yamadharma Raja and can be confident of Emperuman's protection. He does this act of showing his small legs, getting the arms, and then growing so big to establish confidence in the minds of not just his then devotees, but to the clan of all the devotees and their descendants too. He did this when he came as Krishna also. He told the Pandavas, "You are not capable, you are simple people, you cannot win this war." He asked the Pandavas to just leave the task of winning the war to him. We know the Pandavas do not want to stray from the path of Dharma. Despite that, Krishna took it upon himself to shield Arjuna from the arrows. He even hid the sun to ensure that Arjuna can keep up his vow of killing Jayadratha. He masked the truth of killing of Ashwathama through Yudhishthira. He broke his vow of not holding a weapon and took the chariot wheel to fight with Bhishma. And he did many such things just to make his devotees, the Pandavas, win this war. So Parasara Bhattar proclaims with confidence that only one with such compassion and steadfastness towards his devotees is a true Uttama. The next Ithihyam is for the phrase Per Padi, Uththaman Per Padi, Ongi ulagaLandha Uththaman Per Padi, where Āṇḍāḻ talks about the Tirunama Sankirtanam, the glories of singing Emperuman's names. Nanjiyar asks Bhattar if one does not need to be qualified to say the names of Emperuman. What if that person has committed so many papams that he says, "Oh, I'm not even qualified to utter the name of the Lord"? Bhattar says, when the purpose of singing the names of the Lord itself is to rid one of their papa, why would someone need additional qualification? Would singing the names themselves not rid them of their papas and qualify them? An example given by Parashara Bhattar is that of a man who wants to take a dip in the holy Ganga river to rid himself of papas. Would such a person first take a dip in a saltwater marsh to purify himself because he considers himself as not qualified enough to take a dip in the Ganga? He wouldn't do that, right? Similarly, one does not need any qualification to utter the names of Emperuman. Just uttering and singing those names would give them all the required qualifications. The last Ithihyam is for the phrase Thīngindri Nādallam, which means the entire country without any harm. In this context, someone called Deva Pillai, a Sishya of Parasara Bhattar, had to leave his hometown to fulfill a service for Bhattar, where he had to be separated from his Acharya. Deva Pillai did not want to leave Parasara Bhattar, and he said, "Why am I going there? To see who and what good is going to happen when I leave you, my Acharya?" To which Bhattar responds, "You are going there for the benefit of others. So it is going to remove harm for the entire country. Thīngindri Nādallam is going to be true. So don't be sad and no harm will fall upon you." Let's meditate upon these Ithihyams and spend the rest of our day. Alvar Emperumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalē Sharanam.